If you recently became an entrepreneur or business owner, or you're even thinking about becoming one, then pay attention because in this series, I'm bringing on guests who have started their journey within the last decade to share their story, experience, and also some advice that could help you get a perspective on the journey ahead of you. Now, if you're here for a course or some playbook to get £1 million in 30 days, do me a favor and just leave now. But if you're ready for the grind to become the best you can be, stick around for the ride of your life. And I promise you, you will learn something that's going to help you get ahead of the others who are on the same journey with you. So let's get into it. Let's start off with who is Matt and how did you get here?
Of course, yeah. So my name is Matt. I'm originally from Turkey. I have arrived to Canada actually in 2003. I studied my university in Canada, and then before I know it, I was studying in engineering science, and then after that, I became a designer, and then from there on, I became a user experience fanatic, and I've been doing the user experience in any part of my life so far. And perhaps we can go on to details of what user experience is as well in a bit. So,
Yeah, let's do it. I don't mind. Let's do it.
yeah, for sure. So, user experience is something that I did not know actually what it meant before.
Mm,
But once I realized it, it's actually simpler than what it was said in the outside world. So it's literally taking the word user and the experience itself. So what could we do something differently that the user would have the best experience on whatever they're doing?
mm,
Uh, if we are talking about the easiest example that I find on this one is when I explain someone building a car.
yeah.
So if we are looking for car to be built, that's the product manager who would be putting together the requirements of what is needed for the car. An engineer will be mainly concerned of whether this car can actually take the user from one place to another place, and it's more than the caring about that part, like how can we do that one, so with the gas and brake pedals.
Mm,
But when it comes to user experience, it's more about anything that user involves with the car, whether they're getting in to get the groceries or going for a long commute or a long trip, road trip, whatever you want to call it.
mm,
That's pretty much when the user experience involves. And we wanted to know how that experience goes on and so forth. So I'm going to say that we are the guy that who would put that, play pause button on the steering wheel so that
mm,
your eyes are still on the road while you can change your song or pause it or whatever the case it is.
mm,
We are also the one that who is assisting with putting the gas and the brake pedal into the correct location so that you can actually figure it out how easily to find one another without looking down again, removing your eyes from this from the main area, right?
yeah.
So user experience is overall covering everything that we have experience with. So
Awesome. So, what
yeah.
made you go into a business of user experience? What drew you to that sector?
That's mainly one thing that I actually never thought about going into that area. What was
Mm,
happening is I love psychology and I love how human brain, like kind of computes and think about stuff.
mm,
And one of the thing that I noticed is that was different from me than other people was whenever I walk into a room, I tend to find the small details that could have been improved.
mm,
So whether I'm sitting on a table with a lady and she's trying to find where she should put her um what do we call that one, like handbag or whatever the case it is,
yeah.
and then all I'm thinking is like we don't need to waste another seat for a handbag. Like it could
Mm,
have been a really small hook underneath the table, and that
yeah.
could have been just hanging there, right? It's safe, it's easily reachable, etc. Right? So, and they don't want it to put it on the ground. So I was like, start seeing small things like that, or whether the door is like have a handle, and generally if it has a handle then you're going to pull it towards yourself so
Yeah.
you won't push a handle to outside.
Yeah.
So smallest thing, and I start keep telling to my friends that like, hey, this could be improved, this could be done, and then I start turning to myself and saying like, why am I constantly complaining about these things? And so I didn't know the meaning behind that one, but that was all about user experience. So finding those things as in nuances or making the experience kind of like a little bit rough, and then you fix that experience so that the user can actually enjoy it, right? The
Mm.
last thing that you're trying to figure out is, hogging a chair because of your handbag should not be touching on the ground because you grab it on your arm or whatever it is. So how
Yeah.
could we make that happy for everyone, right? So then I start seeing to this kind of idea, and one thing led to another. I got into my first internship. I went to India and lived in India for about a year, and
Mm.
and then they called me user experience designer
Mm.
for in this software company, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I do. This is exactly what I've been talking about. So,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like how my journey started.
Awesome, man. When you started your entrepreneurship journey, I'm guessing is Design Forward your business that you run at the moment?
Yes, it is mainly so it's to make the long story short, yes, that's right now how they can actually reach out to me and where they can find me. It's a community of people who feel stuck and they want to move forward together.
Mm.
They don't take no for an answer. Mainly, I have students who just graduated on the user experience or IT background, as well as master students, PhD students, and some of the career changers as well. But most importantly, entrepreneurship is also coming in as well. And if they need any help on anything that's kind of like keeping them like kind of like frozen mode,
Yeah.
then we can actually help them move as well.
Awesome. And when you started this, did you have a whole entire plan or did you just jump straight into it and just figure it out?
No, plan. I love planning stuff. And as a matter of fact, in the tests that I have taken, so many of them, by the way, with
Mm.
those, like whether INFC or G or whatever, all that kind of things as well. One of the things that I've learned is I have two sides equally powerful. One of them is like, let's go, man, come on, come on, come on. And then the
Yeah.
other part is an entirely planner, like, hey, just stop, we need to think this through and this is how we need to execute. So until I figured that part out, and which one is the gas, which one is the brake, and
Mm.
I have to control those two, I wasn't able to progress so much. So the way
Mm.
that how my journey started is when I was in India in working for that big company.
Yeah.
um, and coming back from there, I was like, this is very interesting because they're delivering products, but it doesn't seem like, it's what the users will be enjoying as an experience. There's a lot
Mm.
of stuff that needs to be fixed. And whether they're doing that or not is one thing. But when I come back, I said, I need to share this with everyone around me, how
Yeah.
important the user experience is. And so I start going after small businesses, and I said, I'm going to teach people, like inform them, and
Mm.
then I'm going to also provide what they're looking for, whether they're looking for a website, online ordering, all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. So one thing led to another. That actually got me contract positions in the IT companies. Then I became a full-time, employees. So I was a UX designer. Then I became a director. Then I led global teams across the, globe in this case.
Mm.
And then as my journey kind of grow that way, I realized that as much as I'm helping making things much better to use, one thing that really like brightened me up is when I see that, I can move people forward with
Mm.
whatever that's making them stuck. And I think thanks to all those user experience advantages that I had, when someone is talking, I can almost understand, where they're getting feeling stuck. And
Mm.
then I said, okay, so have you considered this? And then they take a look at that part, and then it starts to seem to be, working and move. They move forward.
Yeah.
And then so I created a community initially, and I wanted to, done everything on my own.
Mm.
And this is the time before AI, and of course, it was all investment from my side, etc. And it was quite challenging to, handle everything while having the full-time position as well. And then I said, okay, we're going to pause this one. And then as the time passed by, when it comes to the design forward in the last couple of years, I was like thinking about this concept, like how could I actually make this happen? How could I do my exit? And one thing led to another, and then I built Design Forward to as a place where people can come in and kind of like find everything all in one place.
Mm.
Whether they're looking for a jobs, whether they're looking for an event, whether they're looking for a support, they can get everything that they need. I do one-on-one coaching, and this is not feasible for everyone, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone's financial levels is different.
Different. Yeah.
So I was thinking, how could I make a community where I could support everyone? So the community is free. You can join in, and then you're going to be, having this amazing interaction with, other people, and you can ask questions, and then they will be helping each other. And then if you wanted to move a little bit faster, I built an AI version of myself as called Met AI Coach.
Mm.
And it actually has all of my methodologies, everything that I have learned in the last 18 to 20 years of psychology to, coaching to leadership to, whatever you wanted to take it.
Mm.
And then this is a coach that will make the people move forward. So the entire point is if you would go in and then ask any question, it's just pretty much like, let's go, like, like what is holding you down, right? Like that kind of stuff. So, and then so they can start with that. And then if they wanted to, like invest a little bit more, then they go into group coaching. And if they wanted to invest further, then they can do one-on-one with me. But my goal is to provide them all the support that they need
Mm.
within that community. And if they need one-on-one, they can definitely come in. But ultimately, as long as someone is moving forward, that
Yeah.
just makes me happy. And that's kind of like where I'm positioned at the moment.
Amazing stuff, man. I love to hear it. You're actually the first guest I've had that's tech oriented like myself. I think most other guests I
Nice.
have, they're into products and brands, but you're the first one I've had who actually is in the tech space, so it makes me a bit happy as well.
That's
So
awesome.
as a UX designer, most of your work will be based on how users experience your products. So, how did you handle the fear of putting your work out there publicly for the first time? What was that space like for you?
So I think I was lucky. And I know some individuals who will watch this one will think that like that's not luck, that's unfortunate. But
Mm,
I'll follow up with this sentence. Everything happens for you, not to you.
mm,
And this sentence, whether you have experiences or not, but if anyone experienced it and they never actually made sense of it, if you think about it, if you think that everything happens to you, it's almost like an attack. It's almost like a victim mode, like, why
mm,
is this happening to me, right?
yeah.
But if you say that, it happened and it happens for me, so what could I take out of it? If you change
Mm,
that perspective, there's a lot of stuff that can change in your mindset. So when the first jobs that I started, and I'm like looking at how I can actually move forward from the position that I was in. And as you ask the question, like, was I afraid of, taking that action and all that kind of stuff, right? So you have this confidence not built, you don't know what you have, you don't know who you are. There's a lot of stuff that is so unknown. But again, when I saw the things at the time as it everything was happening for me,
mm,
I was going into those small businesses and I'm like, hey, I check your Google Maps and your website doesn't exist or it look
mm,
really bad. Like, and I can help you with that. And I'm talking literally like this with no like confidence and like this, right?
yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, like, so how much? And I'm like, and I don't know how to price it. I have no idea. But one thing led to another. And then remember, there is no AI or anything, right? Like I can't
Yeah.
even ask anything, how much they charge. But then I get start smarter, right? Then I ask agencies how much the agencies charge, how much a student that just graduated should be charging, etc.
Mm,
So then I find my padding in there, here and there, and I got into so much into these healthy conflicts. The guy will say like, "Can you do it for 250?" Like, no, like I can only do like 300, even though I quoted 500 by the
500.
way. So
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
good at negotiation, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm already down from 500 to 250, like seriously. So like, and then when they say, okay, 300 you can do it, like I'm like so happy. But the part was all of these small interactions is exactly what made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And it's the same for like what you're doing in your podcast and your video creations, right?
Mm,
Like we create the first video, and then we are like kind of like shaky, we are not able to talk, and like look at your demeanor now. You're calm, you're running this show, and you're guiding me, you're asking quality questions to me, right? Did
Mm,
it start that way? No, it takes time to build that up.
definitely.
It takes time to send a message to people that that might be helpful for your cause, and then
Mm,
you bring them in. Some of them will work, some of them will not work. Hopefully, I'm helping you out in this as well.
yeah.
So if we look at from all that perspective, everything like has that snowball effect, and before you know it, you kind of reach that level, and that confidence comes in, and then you start running it like you've been doing this for years. And
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, when you look back, you will realize that holy smoke, it's been like 3 years I've been doing this,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff, right? So, and I think that's what makes them going. So if anyone is listening and if they're thinking that, you know what, I should really start this, just pause the video right now, go start what you just said, and then come back and continue watching it. That's what I would recommend them. That's how
Definitely.
important to take in action at the time, right? When you feel that moment.
Definitely, man. That's amazing advice. I love that. I think I'll use that for myself as well because I can definitely relate to the when you have to haggle prices for a website. I'm thinking, let's say, I don't have the money. Let's just pay 150. I'm thinking 150, mate. Come on,
Yeah,
that's too low. But yeah,
yeah,
that's the price to start because the moment you start and you start building confidence, you can then charge higher prices. You can't afford to do that at the start because you have no reps in. There's nothing
absolutely.
to show that you have the credibility for it that I can
Correct.
trust to do it. Yeah, so that's why you have to start from somewhere and just like I said, snowball effect. You work your way back up. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, like, if you really truly love what you're doing, like even in my case, I started as a mentoring, like, I provided like mentoring, I don't know, like minimum from 500 to maybe 1,000 hours just for
mm,
free. And
yeah,
then I'm like, one thing that kept stable in my life was just helping out people moving forward. And I'm like,
mm,
duh, like all this time, your entire thing is being actually aligned, but I am not able to see that. That
yeah,
was the click for me. And I'm like, this is what I love doing. And when you put those things together, then it just goes on. Like Design Forward, as a community, we just launched it in June, and I even delayed that one as well, by the way. So like I created the community in April or whatnot. I'm
mm,
like, oh no, I need to create the social media accounts. I need to do this. I need to change this one. I need to do this. And I'm like, enough. Like the entire point that I am telling that this community is all about moving forward,
mm,
and I am not even able to move
move
forward.
forward.
So what is the issue,
Mm,
right? And funny enough, I was talking with my AI version, and
mm,
because I need to do the testing, right? And I actually sent a message and I said, like, I built all these things in a set. Like, what do I need to do? And then like just launch it, like literally, just launch it. And I'm like, well, I'm like having doubts.
yeah.
What are your doubts? Like, and then we go through those kind of stuff, and I'm like, hmm, you know what? My AI already knows how I should be doing it. So sometimes, also take that tough conversation with yourself. So, look in the mirror and then ask yourself, like, would you be happy where you are at 10 years from today?
Mm,
Exactly how you are at the moment, and you never launched this idea? Imagine for a moment for yourself, right? You never launched this. We're never having this conversation. All you're saying
mm,
is to your friends is you're going to run this one day. And then 10 years later, just imagine for a moment how sad you would be because you don't know whether
mm,
it could have worked out in the first place,
yeah.
and the conditions that you would be in. The people that you have met, you will never learn from them, and you will
Mm,
never be able to provide that amazing knowledge that you have for them, right?
yeah.
Because it's a two-way communication happening in here, right? It's not just I'm just sharing the information. So
Mm,
you presenting yourself is I'm learning something from that one. You showing up, that I'm learning that I have to show up for my client in the same way as well. You being
mm,
punctual for your meeting and being ready is telling me that I need to be better myself as well. You didn't tell any of those things. You provided by you being present right in front of me at the moment. So,
mm,
but not everyone can see and learn from one another, right? So
yeah.
it's all about, how I always tell this to my clients as well, how empty your glass is. because if it's full, I cannot help you. Like
Yeah.
I'll just put it and it will just pour off,
Pour
right?
off. Yeah.
So we have to empty our glass whenever we have interact with a new person, right? So,
Mm.
uh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I if I go a little bit sidetrack, apologies.
No, that's great, man. Keep going on your tangent. I love them.
Okay, okay, cool, cool, perfect. Yeah.
All right, so you are obviously a tech guru, and you would know a lot about social media and how these different. It's like every single day I'm hearing about one new 22-year-old who's building a billion-dollar company. And have you ever felt like when you compare yourself to them that you feel like you're falling behind? And how did you handle that mentality?
I love this question so much because I actually felt that when Mark Zuckerberg first time I think released Facebook, and that
Mm,
was I think the very first time that everyone realized that wow, someone can go overnight a millionaire, and kind of like they don't care if they're jumping into an investor meeting without like a suit or something. If you watched that social network movie,
yeah, I've watched it. Yeah.
like the entire thing that I watched, it irritated me, but it also taught me so many stuff that I have seen from that piece, right?
Mm,
Um, and the problem is after that happened, it kind of created. So let me just actually roll back a little bit. There was one thing that I was recently heard that actually not so recently, like 5, 10 years ago, but the human brain is able to do pretty much anything that we wanted to accomplish. But the
mm,
challenge is if it doesn't seem that it has been happened, then we assume that we cannot make that happen in the
mm,
first place. In the 1960s or 1940s, and you can take a look at that information. I'm sorry for our listeners in here, but there was a person who said something like, I can run a mile under, certain amount of seconds or something like that.
mm,
This has never been done before. And then the number was like, let's say 5 seconds to, 5 seconds difference, like you will be thinking. This
mm,
person said that like I can drop it down to, like 30 seconds less than, anyone ever did. And everyone is like saying that's not possible. And then the person was able to break it. And then before we know it, after that, any runner that came, like and Hussein Bolt and all those individuals,
mm.
they are now way below that number
Number.
than
Yeah.
we have ever reached in the 1940s or 60s. It was not about the shoes. It was about someone showing someone else that it was possible.
Mm,
So from my generation or the way that what I have seen is it was Facebook that actually became that $1 million company. And then overnight, this dropout kid turning to be, like 20s is becoming a millionaire. And
yeah.
I think after that, with the Instagram and everything, like there are those individuals, hey, I have the money, I have this, I have that kind of stuff. And it started actually playing a very negative mental issues for me that like exactly what you said, like I'm behind, how come I'm not able to do this and all that kind of thing. And what
Mm,
I start realizing is it's all is taking me away from the focus that I have.
yeah.
Because what we tend to do is when we look at someone else, we assume automatically that they are in a better shape or they have reached there. We don't know their storyline. We don't know what they have gone through, etc.
Mm,
Someone was recently telling me that if you look at, like, for instance, Bill Gates, the story that was one of the things that was told to me as well is like, oh, how he created, stuff in, his parents' garage or something like that.
yeah.
And I'm like, do you guys know that at the time, Bill Gates' father was already working for an IT company, that he had access to those things?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that, out of all those people, he was one of the rare people that was able to have the, computer access?
Yeah.
So when you know those small but very important details, you are never actually starting with the same way as well. You might have a family home and a basement that is ready for you, but you are not starting in the same levels. Did you
Definitely.
know that he had $100,000, which at that time is like couple millions, as an investment from his father or something like that? Like, it's just mind blowing. Those details are never being mentioned. All
Mm,
we see is someone dropped out and come up with a great idea and they deliver this, or they are with their Ferrari or whatever, like, or villa, whatever people are, like, is like looking forward to, achieve, right?
Yeah.
So I think my number one goal at the moment is, first of all, I did shut down all of my social media. The only thing that I keep going is the LinkedIn in this case.
Mm.
And I am starting with the design forward now, putting, valuable information through YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. as well. But I try to avoid those type of individuals that's kind of showing off, because this is very true. And I do a lot of, training on the wealth and, richness, lack of a better word.
Mm.
Wealthy people never show off. Like, you never
Mm.
seen a wealthy person wealthy, not the rich, wealthy, like where they have cash, liquid assets, like,
Yeah.
where you have so much money in your bank or whatever it is. They do not show off. They're actually living a humble life, and one of the people that I actually admire is like Adam Sandler. If you look at Adam Sandler, he has his shirt and he has his shorts all the time. He's probably
Yeah.
one of the wealthiest people in the world, but
Yeah.
he doesn't care, right? Like, they don't show off, like, what they have.
Mm.
So I think all of those things are, again, another noise that we need to be, really immune to it and kind of lock ourselves out of it. So if I was scrolling something and if I see something like that, I will most likely scroll it up or down or whatever the case it is. That I don't want those things to be distracting me from my goal. So, and if I go into a social media, like something like, your channel, for instance,
Yeah.
I'm there for, learning from others on what is that worked for them that I haven't tried yet. And that's
Mm.
exactly what I love about, your channel and what I wanted to learn from it, right? So
Yeah.
that's the main idea that I wanted to get out of it. And then once you have that much focus, mark my words, my friends, you will be able to reach your goal no matter what, because nothing can actually penetrate that focus, right? And then you're going to reach to your goal. And one thing I always say, if it's like playing a dart, even if you're aiming on the bullseye, you're going
Mm.
to still come very close to that bullseye, right? So
Yeah.
just keep shooting at the bullseye, and you're going to land somewhere close to it, even if you can. But holding with the dart and not taking any action is not helpful. Or while throwing, you're getting distracted by someone on the left or right hand side as well, is
Mm.
not good. So those are the your Ferraris, villas going by, and etc. Right? Like, that's the kind of thing on the scrolls.
That's an amazing analogy. I didn't. I never thought about it that way with the darts and bullseye. If you, because I play darts like on mobile, and like you said, if you're not focused on the bullseye, your dart's gonna go everywhere and anywhere. And if you don't take the
Yeah.
shot, you're definitely not gonna get any points at all. So the only
Mm.
options you have are to take shots and keep that focus on where you want the shot to go. That's the only way you can make it. And like you
Absolutely.
said, it's just a lot of noise right now on social media, and you have to be able to siphon out the noise and just focus on where you want to head and just
Mhm.
keep on that path. So I love that knowledge. That was really good. So
Yeah, precisely.
yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you. No, no, I was just going to say that that's why I think the number one, I know that there's AI is coming and there's this and that
Mm,
is happening. And I keep telling people the same thing, guys, like, just focus on what you wanted to accomplish.
mm,
Because at the moment, there is so much noises coming from every direction. And there is no way that, you would be able to catch up to what you wanted to accomplish if you keep checking out, oh, what is that? Oh, what is that? Oh, what is
yeah,
that? Like, you can't, like, that's the thing, we come here to play the dart, not like, checking out, what's going on, whether that pizza is going to fall down or you
yeah,
order, like, focus on the game and win the game. And if you can't win the game, learn from your opponent how they are shooting. Maybe
mm,
you can actually improve your skill set so that you can get closer to that bullseye that you've been aiming to, right? That's the
yeah.
idea.
Amazing, man. All right, we're gonna head to our signature question because of time, and the question is, what is the one thing you had to give up when you started your business journey?
uh, I think I have to say that it's the time. So when it's so easy to work for a company
Mm,
where you're getting a stable income and
mm,
you don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to worry about, when the next pay will be coming in, or um, like nowadays you cannot shut down, after 8 to 5, whatever the working hours is.
Mm,
But in the past, you were able to shut down like after 5 o'clock. You don't need to worry about anything.
mm,
When you are an entrepreneur, you have to give up on your time. And when I say give up on your time, is it's not about like you don't have time for yourself.
mm,
You have to give up on time that is not a priority anymore. So if I'm actually going to meet up with someone, and I love meeting up with people in person, but
yeah,
if it's like 1 hour in let's say downtown London or something like that, so I'm going traveling 1 hour and 1 hour back, and then we're going to have 30 minutes chats. That's in a 2.5 hour of time that's been spent.
yeah,
And the thing that I need to be very mindful is how could I, take the most advantage of that 1 hour travel time in both directions.
mm,
So I have to figure it out how to use my time the most efficient way possible.
yeah,
So you start giving up so many stuff that was before you were carelessly accepting or allowing that to enter into your life. So you
definitely.
have to give up on those things, and then you have to be really the master of your time. And then you need to figure it out, what are your priorities for the day that you wanted to accomplish. And let's be honest, you can put 10 of the items in there. Only if you can actually check off 2 to 3 of them, the biggest ones,
Mm,
that's already more than way better than like 99% of the people in the world at the time. Because one, they will not, most of them will not be focused.
mm,
And but most importantly, this is how you start. So you compare yourself with that 99%. And then as the time passes by as well, you start comparing yourself with yourself. Hey,
mm,
yesterday I used my time so efficiently and I was able to, knock out these things. But today I was not able to. So what is the difference in here? So now you're competing with your ghost self. And
mm,
then before you know it, now that comparison that was eating you alive about, the billionaires in the young age, etc., all that kind of stuff, it's all becoming irrelevant to you, because all it's important to you is yourself and how amazing you are and how you can make it even more amazing, and then ultimately reach to the level. And mark my words, I'm not going to say if, when you became that much wealthy, mark my words, you're not going to post, your Ferraris or Diablos on the
yeah,
outside.
yeah,
And if you're doing anything like that, either you will be probably gifting that to a family member or someone like that. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
that's the difference is what's happening in the current world, unfortunately. So everyone wants to get your attention, and if that gets an attention, that's what they use it for, right? So
yeah. That's so true. Because you
yeah,
always have to, like you said, you have to stay switched on to what you need to do. So you have to give up a lot of time and invest that time into your business. And at the same time, you're spending that time frivolously, like doing random events, going to parties with friends, just attending every single event that you find. It's not gonna help you if it's not focused on the business. So yeah,
for
you have
sure.
to be very, very meticulous with what you're doing, with the time you're putting into stuff. And even for me, I have a lot of events that I can go to, but I don't go to all of them unless it's a family one. Can I have to like obviously stay with my
Right.
family and everything, but I try to limit what time I use in different stuff and focus more on getting that business forward. So yeah, you're definitely right. And so I started a tradition with my guests where one person leaves a question for the next guest. And the guest I
Okay.
had earlier today left a question for you. And the question
Oh,
was,
okay.
what is the one book that made you reflect on personal growth?
Uh, I always give the same answer on this one because it was very eye-opening to me.
Mm,
It's the man's it's called Man Search for Meaning by Viktor
mm,
Frankl.
okay.
It's an psychiatrist who has gone through the um, concentration camps. And I always feel that we are so lucky to have a psychiatrist inside a concentration camp that
Yeah.
stayed for 4 years and tortured to provide that knowledge to us, because he was like writing it and he was hiding in his jacket, and he survived, by the way.
Mm,
And one message that he left, I will highly recommend anyone who is listening to read that. It's only 100 pages long, kind of a book. He says that when I realized that they can do anything they want to my body, but they cannot penetrate my mind. That's when I realized that, I'm kind of invincible. This is me
Mm.
translating in his the way how I capture the lesson from him.
Yeah.
And it is so true. So when you're reading the book, you realize that people are like, okay, we're not going to be saved, we're going to be like killed and all that kind of stuff, right? As you thinking that negative mindset, which is totally allowed to, right, in those kind of conditions,
Mm.
you kind of like give up on life. But what he was creating is in his mind, he's having a breakfast with his family, with his kids, and he already know that they were already, killed, right?
Yeah.
So by him constantly thinking that that day will one day happen, one day come,
Mm.
that's actually give him a different mindset and
Mm.
allow him to survive like those torturous, years.
Yeah.
And when I learned that one, I realized how strong my mind is and how much I can make a difference in my life. So that's why if you notice it, the entire theme was pretty much like focus. So
Mm.
as long as you can actually put the focus into the right area, there is nothing that can stop you and you will get what you need. It doesn't matter, if someone is bullying you, if someone is envying you, or you're
Mm.
comparing yourself. Like, just think about it. Anytime you have an internal attack, it's from your mind because you are thinking about comparing yourself with other, or you are looking at someone and envying someone, right?
Yeah,
So if
definitely.
you figure that out, that this is your mind and you have the strength, manage it however you want it,
Mm.
it's absolutely golden, right? So
Nice.
um thank you.
I have
That
checked
was
out that book. That was a good book and a good
Thank you.
story as
Yeah, of
well.
course.
You said it
Of
was
course.
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Frankel, correct,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll have to check that book out. Well, thank you so much for your time, Matt. This has been amazing. And again, lovely to meet a brother who is in the tech industry and tech space. I'd love to connect and see how we can work
Absolutely.
together. If you've got
Absolutely.
any platforms you want to shout out, your LinkedIn and everything, feel free to do so. I'll give you the floor.
Absolutely. I actually, in the design forward, there's the social links that was created. Again, I haven't had chance to, come to where you are at and then create my videos and connect with my guest, etc. as well.
Mm.
But I try to get all the handlers called Matt K Unfiltered. So that's pretty much how they can reach me. But I don't know whether they are able to see this written properly or the
Yeah,
QR code as well. If they
I
go
see
into
it.
the designforward.com, they should be able to reach out as well. Feel free to, join the community. I'll do my best to assist them as well. This is kind of like, that's exactly going back to focus. This is kind of like where I'm trying to, keep them intact in one location so that
Mm.
I don't miss any of the conversation, and then I can actually have them under one place to, assist on whatever they need. And even if I'm not available, the AI will be able to.
Yeah.
So that's the hope anyway. So that's kind of like where I'm at. Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. And then, yeah, if you need anything, do let me know and I'll be more than happy to connect again.
That was yet another amazing episode on the Founder Line. If you want to reach out to them, make sure to check the links in the description so you can see where they're at. If this show inspires you, if it helps you learn something, if it helps you grow, ensure you like, subscribe, and don't just go, share the show. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.